In the Middle Eastern desert, 3 smugglers arrive to search under rocks using big blades. After looking around for a while, a man finally finds a hole in the ground. He calls his friends and together they fill the hole with gas. After a few seconds, one of the men takes a closer look only for a spider to jump out of the hole and bite him. As the man squirms on the ground in pain, more spiders come out and the other smugglers rush to catch them in plastic containers. Since the bitten man won't get better, they decide to kill him for mercy. Sometime later the spiders are illegally sold around the world as exotic pets. In France, Caleb visits a shop that deals with smuggled goods to buy some jewelry. The clerk takes him to his office and Caleb sees the spider in the plastic box. Thinking it's cool, he decides to buy it. Afterward Caleb goes home and helps the janitor Zhao take out the trash. A few kids see him and throw some firecrackers at him as a prank before running away. Caleb manages to tackle the last guy and takes the bag with the firecrackers, which he gives to Zhao to get rid of. Then he meets with his friend Mathis, who loves stealing bicycles. Since Caleb is a sneaker dealer, Mathis helps him find potential buyers. When Caleb makes it to his apartment, he finds his sister Manon trying to fix the place and scolds her for not taking good care of their dead mother's things. Then he goes to his room and panics when he notices the lights are off. He immediately turns them on, revealing a big collection of exotic pets that need the warmth of the light to survive. The spider is put in a shoebox while Caleb promises to get a proper glass home for it later. Then Caleb yells at Manon for turning off the lights, since it could kill his pets. Manon yells back, pointing out that the electricity bills are too high because of him. The apartment is falling apart and they don't have the means to fix it, so she thinks they should sell it. However, Caleb refuses because this place has all the memories of their mother. Later that day Caleb goes to a party and bumps into Tumani, who asks for new sneakers because his current ones are in a bad state. Caleb promises he'll have them soon and Tumani leaves with his dog after threatening him. Then Caleb checks on Claudia, an old friend of his mom's. He gives her the jewelry he bought earlier as a goodbye gift since she's moving out. It seems the rent costs have gone too high and almost nobody in the building can afford them anymore. The whole gang spends the party smoking and playing video games. In Caleb's room, the spider makes a hole in the box and manages to escape. Some hours later, Caleb comes home and has to turn on the lights again. When he opens the box he discovers the spider is gone and desperately searches the whole room to no avail. However, he does find a cocoon that he hides in another box before deciding to sleep on the couch. The next morning Caleb is woken up by Manon and some friends working on fixing the bathroom, so he can't have a shower. Then Caleb takes the new sneakers to Tumani and they're seen by Gilles, who thinks the sneakers are hiding illegal substances and reminds Caleb that he's watching him. Tumani hides in the supply room and tries putting on his new sneakers, but he quickly takes his foot out when something bites him. He looks inside the sneaker and a spider comes out to crawl on his arm, so he pushes it off and smacks it with a sneaker. When he checks the shoe again, dozens of tiny spiders come out and crawl all over Tumani's body, causing him to panic while his dog eats the original spider. In the meantime Caleb goes back to his room and finds the whole gang staring at his creatures, calling him out for buying illegal animals. Caleb keeps getting calls from Tumani but ignores them because he's arguing with the others to get them out. Once everyone is gone, he closes the door and covers the crack with a towel just in case. Then Caleb tries calling Tumani, but he doesn't pick up because he's currently in great pain. His skin has weird marks and his eyes are crying yellow. When he tries to stand up to reach the phone, he falls and breaks some glasses, so now he's bleeding too. Sometime later the neighbors are annoyed because Tumani's dog won't stop barking. They try calling him and knocking on his door, but he won't answer. Gilles ends up breaking the lock and everyone is shocked to see Tumani dead on the floor. Soon the police arrive but they refuse to explain how Tumani died, and neighbors get nervous when they see the officers wearing a mask. An argument ensues among them because many people are blaming it on an overdose, so the cops have to calm them down and send them to their apartments. As a safety measure, nobody is allowed to leave the building for now. If anyone has a fever, they have to wait for the doctors to arrive. The neighbors watch the body being taken away before going to their homes. After rescuing Tumani's dog, the gang discusses what may have happened and Manon wonders if Caleb really sold certain substances to Tumani, which angers him. Jordi assures her it wasn't an overdose because he's seen junkies at the hospital. Meanwhile Zhao is dropping her things in the supply room and is surprised to see lots of cobwebs on the ceiling. She covers her face with a handkerchief and starts spraying repellent all over the room, not noticing that several spiders have already escaped through the vents. Seconds later the spiders come out in Caleb's bathroom, where Jordi's girlfriend Lila is washing up. When she notices the vent lid on the ground, she picks it up and steps on a stool to put it back on. Unfortunately she slips and falls in the shower. Then she notices a towel moving and looks behind it, but she doesn't find anything. Suddenly a spider jumps out and a terrified Lila pushes it off before hiding in the shower. She yells for help and Jordi comes over, but he refuses to kill animals and tries to catch the spider with a glass instead. The spider jumps and hides under the sink while the rest of the group arrives to watch. Tired of everyone yelling what he should do, Jordi grabs a mop and uses it to pound the space under the sink, hoping to kill the creature. However, the spider runs up the mop and jumps on the shower, only for Jordi to throw a towel at it to make it fall. Now he can stomp on it to kill it. Afterward he picks up the towel and everyone's shocked to see dozens of tiny spiders running off. At the same time, regular spiders come out of the shower drain and Lila panics. Jordy immediately drags her out of the bathroom and they close the door, which they seal with as much tape as possible. The group then forces Caleb to talk until he admits he bought an illegal desert spider, but he swears his pet was much smaller. Mathis concludes that the babies are bigger because they must be adapting to their new environment. Caleb grabs the box with the cocoon and when Jordy opens it, he finds even more spiders. Using more tape, Mathis seals the box as well. Meanwhile Zhao is still cleaning the building and finds a dead spider. At that moment the cops come back and mention a quarantine, so they seal the front door. Then Zhao continues to look around, finding more cobwebs in the corridors and even a bird trapped in it. She gets a ladder to reach the ceiling and moves a panel to discover the huge spider nest hidden there. Zhao covers her face and uses the spray again, then she takes a closer look with a flashlight. Suddenly a spider jumps on her face and makes her slip off the ladder, so her body now rolls down the stairs. Back in Caleb's apartment, Lila, Manon, and Jordy decide to ignore the police's orders and announce they're leaving. Mathis chooses to stay because he's already in enough trouble over his robberies, while Caleb stays because he's thinking of the neighbors his mother loved so much. Since the others keep on insisting, Caleb agrees to leave but only after warning their neighbors so they can leave too. In another apartment, a man is exercising while listening to some music. Looking in the mirror reveals a spider behind him, however when he turns around the spider is gone. He searches the room until he sees it on another wall and ends up making a big hole when he tries to kick it. The guy looks inside and sees all the cobwebs before the spiders jump on him. He yells to ask for help, but his father is sleeping and doesn't hear him. At the same time Caleb and Mathis are going door to door to warn the neighbors, but so far nobody wants to leave because they're scared. They knock on the exercising guy's apartment too, but the music covers the screaming. Getting worried, Caleb runs to check on Claudia, who doesn't answer the door. He can hear the TV inside so he breaks the door open and sees her on the couch. However when he comes closer, spiders come out of her dead body. Caleb and Mathis panic and run out of the apartment, only to see an old man asking for help. Mathis wants to assist him but Caleb stops him, pointing out that the man has been bitten. The duo sends the man back into his apartment before running away. In the apartment Lila goes through several channels but doesn't find a single newscast talking about their situation. Jordy searches the internet and discovers these are spiders of the Sciaridae family, who can grow 10 times in size to fight predators. Manon checks social media and doesn't find any warnings from the authorities either, only tweets from the neighbors complaining about the lockdown. Suddenly they hear some glass breaking in the kitchen and Jordy notices a strange liquid slipping under the door. When he looks inside, he discovers that Tumani's dog is dead and a spider is coming out of its stomach. Things soon get worse all over the building. The father finds his dead son while the man from the corridor keeps trapping spiders with glasses, but soon he dies too. In fact there are people dying on every floor. Mathis and Caleb go back to their apartment only to bump into their friends at the door, who are desperate to leave and refuse to go back inside. Suddenly Gilles appears behind them and starts attacking them with a baton, bringing down Caleb before turning on Mathis. Manon tries to calm him down, so Gilles yells at them and forces them to enter the apartment to stay there as the police said. As he points out that Jordy and Lila shouldn't be here because they don't live in this building, Gilles forces his way in and asks to see Caleb's room, still thinking he's a dealer of illegal substances. When the others try to stop him he gets even more suspicious, so an angry Caleb decides to let him pass. Gilles looks around the room and finds the sealed box, which he starts stabbing with his knife. When the hole is big enough, the spiders come out and the group immediately runs out of the apartment, locking it to leave Gilles to die. Afterward they take the stairs, finding cobwebs in every corner as they go down. Eventually they reach a corridor blocked by the web and the biggest spiders they've seen so far. Suddenly the lights go out, but they return a second later. It turns out these corridors have time-sensitive bulbs. Determined to reach the garage, the group goes down to the next floor only to find even more cobwebs and spiders. Since they don't have other options, everyone puts on their hoods and starts making their way down the corridor while Manon stays back to control the lights, which appear to keep the spiders at bay. It takes them longer than usual but they make it safely to the other side. Now it's Manon's turn to cross but when she's about to reach the end, the lights go out and she gets stuck on some cobweb. She takes out her lighter and notices a spider coming closer, but burning it would alert the others so she runs quickly to reunite with the others. When the group tries to leave, the police hold the door closed and ignore their pleas for help. The guys use all their strength to open the door at least a little bit only for the cops to use that space to shoot gas at them. The group wants to continue pulling, but the cops open fire at the door to keep them away. They have no choice but to run through the creepy corridor again until they're back on the stairs. Thanks to the gas the spiders don't jump on them, but Jordy is missing. A desperate Caleb enters the corridor again and is devastated to find Jordy on the floor covered in cobwebs and spiders. Jordy tells him to leave and at first Caleb refuses, but now the spiders are coming for him so he has to run back to the others. While Lila freaks out over losing her boyfriend, Mathis notices a weird liquid and looks up to discover a horrifying sight, a bunch of bodies caught on the cobwebs on the walls and ceiling. There's also a giant spider coming out of the web, so Mathis alerts his friends and the group runs upstairs after closing the door, leaving Jordy to die alone too. They make it to an empty room and Lila keeps trying to run back to her boyfriend to the point she fights Caleb. Thankfully Manon manages to grab her and keep her inside while they hear Jordy's dying screams. There's a bag on the floor and Mathis finds the kids' firecrackers inside, so he lights one up to have light. The others are crying for Jordy, so Mathis asks them to put themselves together since they still need to escape. He believes that by using the fireworks they can fight the spiders and make it all the way to the roof to ask for help. First Mathis throws a firecracker in the corridor, and the explosion makes all the spiders on the ceiling freeze. Then the group starts moving carefully down the corridor, using a firecracker as a shield. When the flame goes out, Caleb gets a Molotov from the bag and throws it in the corridor, starting a fire that makes the spiders freak out and come after them. The group immediately starts running upstairs, always making sure to turn their flashlights in the direction of the spiders to buy time. In one of the apartments some neighbors are asking for help, but the guys tell them to stay inside before they keep on running. Their flashlights don't have much power left, so Manon messes with Gilles Locke until she gets the keys to his apartment and the group hides inside, closing the door before the spiders can reach them. Caleb has a breakdown, feeling guilty for starting this spider invasion. He tells Lila about his complicated history with Jordy, explaining they used to be childhood friends that grew apart. Suddenly a light appears at the window and a bunch of police officers come in. They refuse to listen to Caleb's pleas to help the other neighbors and a cop hits him to shut him up, so Caleb tries to fight back. The officer easily tackles him to the floor and Manon tries to help her brother, only to be pushed away as well. Mathis tackles another cop and soon both groups are fighting each other while rolling on the floor. An officer throws pepper spray at Mathis then starts choking him, so Caleb grabs a fallen gun and shoots the cop to save his friend. The girls are thrown into a corner and hit with gas while two officers have to team up to finally overpower Caleb. The whole group is tied up and taken to the garage, where the cops have been hiding all along to deal with the spiders. While the special team is picking up the creatures' bodies, the lead officer tries to explain that the group almost ruined their operation. He claims everything they've done so far is protocol to help them and that many officers died too, but Caleb thinks they didn't do enough and just keeps yelling at him. Suddenly Mathis starts coughing, revealing he's been bitten. He doesn't have much time left, so he wants to go out as a hero. Mathis goes to the generator and turns it off, causing the lights to go out. Then he runs to tackle the cop at the door, throwing him back to open it. Soon hundreds of spiders come out and the cops open fire as they spread through the garage. As the spiders begin killing the cops, Caleb and the girls use the chance to run away. Lila and Caleb manage to hide behind a car and notice they've lost Manon. Using a lighter, Lila releases Caleb from his bindings before they watch another man getting killed by the creatures. Caleb tells Lila to hide inside a car while he looks for his sister. He runs through the chaos and manages to reunite with Manon, only to get shot in the leg in the process. Manon grabs a fire extinguisher and breaks a van's window so they can open it and hide inside. She patches up Caleb's wound and apologizes for her attitude, admitting she misses their mom too. Caleb gives her their mother's bracelet, telling her to keep it. Soon spiders appear on the windows but before they can enter the van, Lila activates the lights of a car to scare them away. Then the siblings run out of the van, dodging cops and spiders until they make it to the vehicle with Lila. She starts driving through the garage, hitting several cars, bikes, and even cops on her way out. It takes her a few turns but eventually she finds the exit, only to see a huge spider blocking the way. Caleb volunteers to come out and stares at the creature, who runs away after Lila turns off the car lights. Now Caleb can open the front door and the group finally escapes. Sometime later the barrier that has been put around the building is covered with pictures of all the people the spiders killed. Flowers, messages, and souvenirs have been left in their memory. The building is blown up, so the survivors lose their homes. In the forest Caleb buries a box with a childhood picture of him and Jordy. There's a spider crawling on his shoulder, so he grabs it and releases it in the woods. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.